Friends from the Road. You are now listening to the Friends from the Road podcast.
Gaining new friends along the journey. Sharing stories that inspire, encourage, and motivate.
Friends from the Road podcast. Now here's your host, Daniel Hurd.
Tonight, we have been dealing with scattered drizzles of rain. But as I'm starting this, it's starting to break up a little bit and the moon is shining. It is shining on the lake behind us here at Ray Roberts Lake
Texas
State Park here in Texas. I had a brain fart there, guys. But the moon is amazing. It's if not a full moon, really close to a full moon. And it looks amazing, especially with these clouds kind of dispersing and allowing us to be able to do this recording. And tonight, I am very fortunate to have a friend from the road joining me. And this friend has been following my journey for a little over a year, at least.
Close to,
if not almost a year and a half. And he came to see me during my healing process when I got my new bike. And he is here today on his bicycle. So we are here to talk to Jakeb Miller. Jakeb, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. I've been excited to watch your advancements and everything and your travels.
Yeah, it's been exciting being able to do it, honestly. So I'm glad that everybody that gets to experience it as I get to. I'm really enjoyed about it. Now, just if I could get my mental mind on track.
That's a lifetime thing.
Yeah. Hopefully we can get some help on that and progress can be made. But so we're here tonight. We're camping together. A little bit of scattered storms. Tell the folks what you're sleeping in tonight.
Kind of like a tent hammock that I finally found for really bike camping adventures. You can either hang it in a tree or lay it on the ground with a insect net over it. But a really nice piece of hardware that I found maybe 6-7 months ago or so. Really cool. I really like it.
Now, the only thing that's missing on it at this moment, which is ideal
Much
for
needed.
today, is what?
A rainfly.
A rainfly. Does it normally come with one?
That I can't recall, but definitely needs for sure. I don't know if the company makes one specifically for it, but everybody and every company out there makes a rainfly, so you can pick up anything really. But yeah, that's probably the last part I need for that. And then Dan asked tonight. I brought a mat with me to test out, and little small inflatable mat inside of it to see if that works or not. So. Final thing I need is a rainfly, especially today.
Yeah. Well, hey, at least you're getting to test it out, and we're getting to test out all our equipment because I'm doing the same thing. That's that's the great thing about these nice little rides.
Oh yeah. Try the gear.
Speaking about that, how was your ride today to come into the state park? Not
too bad. The weather was decent. Nice tailwind on the way up most of the way. The climbs when you get closer to the park are get steep, and I was already kind of bonking towards the end, but not too bad at all. But the only problem is I hadn't been on the bike in maybe close to 3 months or so, building it up to what it is now. So legs aren't where they should be, back isn't where it should be, and then this time is the first time I've ever loaded up most of my gear for bike camping again. It's been since maybe November or so.
You know what I'm going to say. It's one pedal at a time.
One pedal at a time, man. That's the truth. That's very true.
But it's a great thing to remember, especially when we get back into things. It takes every stroke, every pedal. If you're not on a bicycle, it takes every step, every thought. Got to break it down so you guys can make it through. So keep that in mind.
Small bits.
Jakeb, tell us, give us some background. Tell the listeners who you are and who we're talking to today.
Born and raised in Dallas, adventured pretty much most of my life. Parents took us everywhere. 2-week vacations just to go explore, kind of like what Dan is doing now, all at once. So taste of nature I've always had. Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts back in the day, and then just loved, outdoors as much as possible. Been riding bike. My first adult bike I ever got was 2009 when I wanted to start commuting about 9 miles to work. And that was the adventure into really riding just to get around. Dallas, just take the car. I mean, we barely had mass transit here, so just get in the car, somebody drive you or something, call a taxi or something. So we never had our own means of transportation, and Dallas is okay for getting around on bike and stuff, but as soon as I started it in 09, I missed my bike from way back when I was a kid, doing, 100 miles a day on a kid bike,
Man, 100 miles on a kid bike?
Oh, dude, we rode everywhere, man. One of the first Christmases I really remember is my brother and I, we came out of our bedroom, and at the end of the hallway was 2 brand new Dukes of Hazzard bikes. And this is December, and so December is not terribly cold in Texas, but we had pajamas on, and we ran out the door, and we rode all day long on those bikes, man. So we were always out on them.
Yeah, it's not like this past year in February.
Yeah, a little dump of snow. You like that, huh? Yeah. The last time that we'd had that much snow in this area, when this was actually more snow than then, was 2010, 2011. Prior to that, in between these 10 years, no snow. No snow. Oh, yeah. We used to get snow all the time. We actually had snow days back in the day. So just a commuter on the bike, started doing that. Really got into that, into the point where I was doing a road bike 23 miles from downtown Dallas out to the suburbs for work.
Okay.
Commuting maybe 2-3 days a week, doing 50 miles a day. So fell in love with that, and I was like, this just ain't doing it anymore. So went for the big bikes, mountain bikes, and I was like, shit, I can just take this stuff camping now. Let me load up my bike and go wherever I want to go,
When did you do your first tour?
It just came up on Instagram 2 weeks, 2 weeks ago, almost four years ago, on that bike. So that loaded up, and it's actually on the other side of this park where by the dam was the first time I ever rode, and it was 36 miles.
And you did it on this bike?
That bike.
Tell everybody what this bike is.
It's a 2015 BMC Team Elite TE03. I have a thing for green. You see it, it's bright green. I had a Diamondback at the time that I had maybe 4 months or so. $700 or something like that.
Good starter bike.
Good starter bike. It does well. Did well for how the time I had it. And I saw this thing up on the rack, and it just screams green. It's Hulk green, really. It's just gorgeous. And I said right there, I have to have that bike. Christmas was coming up. I think it's right before Thanksgiving, really. And the guy was like, well, if you put it on layaway, we take 20% off of it right now. I'm like, sign me up. Wife's like, you already got one. It's like, I got to have this one. It's the color. It's just gorgeous. And this is kind of the beginning of the trail bikes. These are really beginning. It's just a front suspension bike. It's a hardtail. So it is really just built for trails up and really in our area.
And it's
not a rocky one.
Yeah, and it's pretty well a lighter weight bike as well because of the aluminum frame.
Correct. It maxed out 20-ish pounds. Okay. New, just fresh, nothing on it. So 20-something pounds. So it was good, and I probably have 3,500 miles on it from just traveling everywhere.
That's amazing.
Pulling baby trailers, pulling baby on my back, everything, dude.
Yeah. Before we get into that portion, I want to talk about your family and a special trip you guys took later on. But before we get to that, obviously we have biking in common. We have another thing in common that I wanted to talk about, because I know it's something else that we want to talk about later, is accidents.
Oh, yeah.
We got that in common.
Bike accidents.
Bicycle versus
vehicular
car.
Bike accident, I think they call it these days. Yeah.
Large thing against small thing. Whatever you want to call it. So, that
was a locust, by the way.
when was your accident?
May 2003.
2003.
Yeah, I kind of just started. This is when I was commuting to work.
Yeah.
The 23 miles and everything, and I kind of stepped up in my job, and so I could work remote. So I'd stayed home, so I had to fill in that 50 something miles I was missing a day, and so I started just riding around the block, riding around Oak Cliff, just right outside downtown. Like I could get downtown like 5 minutes on a bike. But when I started doing that, I was trying different paths. And one of the big hills in that area, and this is on my super fast bike. This is a bike I hit 42 miles an hour on,
Yeah.
road bike racing. I just tried a different path. I was going down this hill. I just switched up to my large chain ring, coming up on an intersection. And this lady just turned in front of me in a old Taurus station wagon. And by the time I had hit her, I was doing 25 miles an hour. So I just T-boned the side of her and then fell in the intersection. Everybody stopped. People came to me. I'd grab the bike and just kind of, let's get out of the road and whatnot. And she'd stopped a little further up and came back and checked on me. I hugged her and said, hey, we're fine. We're moving on. Let's just get it out of the way. So hit her at 25. And you can see from when I'd impacted the car, you could see my fist in the side of the car as I'd hit her.
No way.
Yeah, I hit her that hard.
Did you break your hands or anything?
Nothing. Because the brake levers are right in front of it too. So everything just collided right there, but you could see where the impression was. And what was bad, she lived like 2 blocks from us.
No way.
Yeah, she was just down the road from us. So an older lady, kind of just in a big wagon, I guess grocery shopping or something. 5 stitches in the lip. And probably the worst pain I've ever felt, and I fainted from it because it was so hard. The nurse jabbed me in the lip with anesthetic, local anesthetic, blacked out. Wife was there, starts freaking out. What the hell? And I told her that's what I call a reset. Your body just shuts down, shock, resets. And within 2-3 seconds, I'm back up. But stitch me up, dude. Had that. And now I'm having shoulder issues from that. But I went through... It may have been 1.5 years of attorney battle, just going back and forth with them. They first came back and said, well, it's 60% our client's fault and 40% yours. I'm like, why the hell is it my fault? They turned in front of me. Well, this and this and this. And she's like, well, can you prove all that to me? I was like, yeah, I show you where my freaking heart monitor died when I hit her and the speed I was doing when I hit her and the GPS where I hit her. That's all y'all. That's all y'all. That person turned in front of me. None of my fault. So they finally changed it to 80% hers, 20% mine. So I got...
That's insane.
Like, maybe they gave me like $1,000 for the bike, which was almost a $2,000 bike. And then for like personal injuries, maybe 6 months later, I think I got maybe $2,000. So in total, I got like $3,000.
Wow.
I'm like, what the shit? So that's what my big thing now too, especially in the area we live. There's cyclists everywhere, packs of them.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of people that are more aware now. But it's scary going through an accident, Bubba. When I heard yours, I was like, oh, I fucking started crying, man.
You know, as you know, and as many people know, and I've said many times, I'm very blessed for the type of accident it was, to everything that was involved. It just
scary situation, but to recover.
It shouldn't have ended the way it did, but I am so thankful it did.
Yeah,
in the best way.
Yeah.
So you know.
And I just heard your story when we met last time. I'd got to hear the whole thing. So what you'd gone through is nuts, dude. For what they did, man, that's what worries me about people on the road. That's what's scary.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, there is a real thing, and we're all guilty of it at one point or another, whether we're on a bicycle or in a car or on a plane or not, or on a boat, wherever we are. We become distracted drivers.
Oh, yeah.
Riders, pilots. It happens. It shouldn't happen, but it happens.
We're human.
And we try to do things that we shouldn't do at certain times. I'm guilty of it. I can't say anything. I get a thought in my head. I'm like, I got to remember this. And I look on my phone while I'm bicycling.
Yeah.
So, but I'm not going 70 miles an hour.
Exactly. Well, like they fuss at us for, you didn't stop at a stop sign. Well, I'm not going to collide with a vehicle and kill everybody in the vehicle. You are going to collide with a vehicle and kill somebody.
I use
That's
stop
what's
signs.
scary.
I use stop signs as yield signs as a bicyclist.
Yeah.
Unless
Texas
it's
law,
vehicles.
Yeah.
Unless it's vehicles, then I'll stop.
Yeah.
But if I'm going with a vehicle to just start going, I'm going.
Yeah.
Or if there's no vehicles in any other direction,
Because it's safety
I'm not
too.
stopping.
You're rolling with a larger vehicle and you're traveling with it, which is smart. Very smart.
So I try to be prepared, but I think that's something that we all have to be prepared for. And from your accident, is there anything that you could have probably done that more prepared you to be seen from that woman, do you think?
In that situation, I think about it quite a bit. What I can recall is I know I looked back to see if I could take the next lane because we were moving fast enough and all the other cars had just kind of set off. So I knew I was moving fast enough that I could have, done that. But and really is just be aware. One of the guys that I told the story to too, he's like, you have to live with your head on a swivel. You just got to be cautious. You got to be very prepared for somebody not noticing you or just somebody coming out. My biggest pet peeve is just not stopping at a stop sign. We have so many people like, I'm stopping past a stop sign, and right at our apartments, it's the exact same thing. There's a stop sign, and then people just roll through it. It's like people walk through there all the time. But really, just be aware, get miles down so that you're familiar with it, be cautious, wear bright colors. I've seen so many people that will just wear dark colors. That helps individuals catch you, even if they're distracted, catch you a bit better. Yep. And with the newer light technology, you have these small lights that are super bright. So definitely load up on equipment and make sure you prepare people for you, not even yourself preparing for it. Prepare people for you on the road. That's the biggest thing to avoid accidents and stuff like that. Make sure people can see you. Don't blend in. That's the biggest thing. Don't blend in.
Yeah, definitely don't blend in. And be bright and visible. Luminous. Get people's attention. Hey, but with that, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, let's talk about a family trip we took and a few other safety topics that we want to keep talking about. If you're looking for high-quality bicycle accessories, then you need SKS Germany. Now with 100 years as a leading manufacturer of bicycle accessories, they have been ensuring that the wheels are rolling. I know of SKS Germany because of their global reputation for its innovative mud guards for all wheel and frame sizes, providing optimal protection from dirt and splash water. In addition to fenders, they make pumps, compact bike tools, chain guards, bottles, bottle cages, bags, and many other accessories. So if you're looking to set your ride up with the best, go to sks-us.com and use capital FFR 15 to receive 15% off your order. Now, enjoy the second half of the episode. So we took our break. During that break, we got our fire going. The sun disappeared, the light darkened, and the moon came out. And we needed some warmth, so we got the fire going in the background and some
Clouds
breeze going. The stars are starting to show up. Yeah. And again, the moon is beautiful, shining bright now in between the clouds, hiding it for moments at a time. And before the break, we were talking to Jakeb about his accident and some safety concerns and things that he hopes people can do. And so let's continue to talk about safety and the importance of safety while being, especially on the roadways.
Commuting, side trails, anything, big bikes, small bikes, whatever. It's especially, we were talking about earlier, is that now that we had this rampant run on bikes because everybody was locked down and wanted to ride, and the pandemic kind of took that over, and shops were out of bikes for months. So now we have these new people that are out that have never been or have experience riding with vehicles and stuff around them or whatnot, because a lot of places up here in Dallas, there aren't many side trails and stuff like that. A lot of people just take right to the road, and which in Texas it is law. You've got the whole lane.
Yeah.
A lot of the cities, especially since I started doing my commute back in, I guess 13 was when I really started riding a lot. That the year of my accident, I'd made 4,700 miles that whole year.
Wow.
And I kind of got into a lot of communities that were bike activists and stuff like that are promoting the people being out on the road. But this is before the big boom this past year. But so many people just get on and not aware of that a bicycle is treated as a vehicle on the road, and they really need to study up on what rules are on the road.
Hand signals.
Yeah, how to gesture to oncoming traffic. I'm very courteous when I ride. Majority of the time, if nobody's coming around a bend and somebody's behind me, I pass them on. I'll scoot over, I'll hug the curb so they can get around or whatever they need to do. But you definitely need to learn the local laws to ride safely.
Of course. And at the same time, I always tell people, hold your lane.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's one thing to be nice and give, passing vehicles room to pass, which is a very nice courtesy of a cyclist. But if you give them an inch, they take a foot.
Oh, gosh. They will squeeze you. They will squeeze you.
Hold your line. If it's not safe or if it's not clear for you to give them space, don't
let them have it.
Yeah.
Don't let them have it. And people are going to be cautious, and especially now, a lot more people are riding, so people are more cautious around cyclists. But a lot of vehicular traffic is still. What do? I come up on a slow bike. I've got to get around, So definitely learn the laws there. A lot of places around here, you will see signs that say cyclist full lane.
Yep.
That is your lane. Don't give anybody. I ride the middle of the lane. I don't care where I'm at. I ride the middle of the lane because you are more visible. And I'd seen a study years ago that they showed just actual footage of when you're coming up on a cyclist that is on the shoulder, you are less visible there.
Yes.
Because you are visible in that lane. You can be seen in that lane. So it is very key to take the whole lane.
It's funny that you bring that study, because I just recently saw a study with a diagram of the same thing, and it showed the tunnel vision version where directly in front of the eyes, it's 60% of where their focus is.
Yeah, correct.
And then
we don't have a wide range of vision in first, but you're also traveling too, so that narrows it also. So make sure you're the prominent thing that is in front of whoever's coming at you.
Yeah, and make sure being visible. That's it.
Be visible, man.
Be
as
bright
as can possible.
Be bright. Have lights on your bike. Have reflectors. What other safety stuff you got going?
Well, my bike's green. I love my bike green. It's nice and bright. A lot of people, when I had my road bike before the accident, is bright orange.
Yeah.
And just cycling in general, people, check out that bike. They didn't care about who was on it or who's riding it or whatever. They saw the bike and they're like, so you pay attention to maybe an object more, kind of sadly to say, a person. But when you see something flashy, you're like, I kind of catch on and see better. That's why I like my brighter bikes. For years, cycle companies have always made dark frames, dark bikes, and everything like that. So you're not very visible. So I'm so happy to see all these companies now making these just bright ass colors, on the bikes. So yeah, be as bright as possible, lights as much as possible, so that even forward and aft lights, you need to see. We got a raccoon? Something scurried off.
We got something going by. It's probably an armadillo then.
Yeah, possibly. There's gonna be a ton of them around here.
Nothing too crazy.
Be bright. Yeah, be bright, and don't blend into your. Even like blue shirts. Don't wear blue shirts because you blend to the sky if it's nice and blue, or gray because you really immersed into that color. You don't stand out. So definitely wear something bright.
I love my blue shirt.
I know, me too. It's gorgeous, but we
just
blend.
like my blue bike.
Oh, it's gorgeous, dude.
Hey, so, I'm glad that you continued biking. Obviously, I can relate to that as well as getting back on the bike after an accident. regardless if it takes time or not, you did it.
Yeah.
And
And it's psychological. You and I have talked about this before. It is deep because you are worried again. Is it going to happen again? How do I make myself a giant on the road and break that stigma in your head? I'm okay.
yeah, my thing, definitely for me is how do I allow myself to be comfortable? Because for anybody that's been following my journey, and especially since I got back on a bicycle, I'm riding on the roadways. And I'm doing things that I did before, but it's this time around, it's more of a struggle. I am definitely got a lot of anxiety and stress.
Internal battle.
It's internally an issue that I'm trying to overcome, and it takes time. And the only way to do it is by putting myself into the situations. And that's where I'm at right now. That's why I'm taking these trips and trying to ride where I am so that I can be comfortable and enjoy the rest of my journey. And that's, and
that's why we're on the bike. Is to enjoy
and the enjoyment. And I want to be able to enjoy and traveling still. But as we were talking about before, the reason why I got the bike I have now is so that I have more options to get off the roads and experience things at my pace instead of trying to worry about being out of the way of the 65, 70 mile an hour car that's coming behind me.
Yeah.
Or in my case, not even remember the car even coming up behind me. So, but you obviously continued to do your bicycling for a while after the accident and commuting back and forth to work. But then you went on and you started a family. You have a wife and a daughter, and the adventures didn't stop when that family started. And I feel like this is something very important for people to hear. Is a lot of times I feel like families, they do things together and they have fun and they have adventures and field vacations and passions.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of them kind of forget that they can live that way in a lot of ways. So you and your family, back in 2018, went on a pretty unique adventure. Tell the listeners about that. Let's do that.
It was our first family real adventure, and it's first trek that we'd made out like my parents used to do with us when we were little, that we'd pack a car with a whole bunch of whatever and close your eyes. That smoke's starting to blow. We would just go see America. We got the opportunity to go explore and see stuff. And I'd been in Boy Scouts, until my teens and stuff. And Dad always had us out camping. And I still have his Coleman gas stove. And so I definitely want to share that with my little one, and that was my biggest thing, is to make sure that she understands this is our world and we got to explore it and enjoy what's been gifted to us. And so our 2018 trip was 4,900 miles total round trip up to Seattle, all the way kind of cutting through Utah and Idaho and Oregon and into Washington just to go visit some friends and stuff.
All beautiful country, by the way.
In a Prius.
In a Prius.
Yeah, in a Prius.
Thank you for bringing that
packing that up, and then with a baby seat in there and all the firewood and all the other junk we need, because we camped at least 5 or 6 nights, in the Prius, which was a nice adventure. Little air-up mattress in the back. All 3 of us snuggled up nice and tight. Only one real hot night that the car ran most of the night to keep us cool. After that, we hit Moab the next night, and windows are cracked. We were chilling, enjoyed the nice little geese and sound, everything going by in the town. So little one loved it. She loved Arches. I've got some of the most gorgeous pictures of us there at Arches in Moab, and all the way up through there. We just traveled up until We stayed in teepees in Vashon Island in Seattle. And then we went all the way back.
How old was she during her first trip?
That's 3 years old.
3 years old. Does she remember it at this age now, or not really?
For the longest time, anywhere we drove around, and there was a Motel 6 sign, have motel. She knew that was our motel. We stayed there a couple of nights. And so she saw Motel 6 and knew that was where we stayed. She's got an insane memory. She's got a crazy, insane memory. But I haven't asked her in a while, if she remembers any of that stuff. We actually went to see some of my friends in Oregon, Portland, Oregon, and she became good friends with their two twins, Shane and Sadie. And so now they kind of are back and forth, always talking and whatnot. And so she does remember them. And we went to visit them the next year. We flew out to there and did 4th of July's out there with them. So she remembers them and talks about them a lot and has made great friends with them. So I can see that she remembers a bit of it,
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And so she was 3 then, you said? Mm-hmm. So she's got to be 6?
Coming up on 7 in October. So, yeah, she just turned 6.
7 in October.
Yeah.
And that goes by
and we're planning our next trip now.
Yeah, what do you guys do you have anything in
Sedona. Going to Arizona, and this is kind of a...
Are you doing it in a Prius again?
In the Prius.
Are you really?
In the Prius.
Nice.
Well, I think Elisa said we might get an SUV because we don't want to put miles on that because we're already at 170,000
on the Prius?
On a 6-year-old Prius.
That means you're using it, man.
Yeah,
it's a good thing.
Dude, I love that. It's amazing.
Hey,
amazing machine.
Being on the road as long as I have, I especially when I had the camper, I got to stay in parking lots a lot. Mm-hmm. And there's this whole phase of everybody going through buying vans to make like these mini
conversion vans and adventure vans. Yeah. There's one called Joe Camper in Germany. They make some of the gorgeous vans ever, dude.
Really?
Like air suspension on them and everything, off-road and stuff. Dude, it's a huge adventure world now, man. It's
the
awesome.
adventure world is growing insanely, but having these vans has been like more in the mainstream media popularity, I feel like. Yeah. But, dude, I've seen quite a few Priuses converted into campers.
Well, I've seen that one. I've seen that one that's got like a camper on the back of it. That thing's insane, dude. It's pretty crazy.
No, I've seen people like rolling up in their Prius, park in the parking lot, fold up the back seat so that they have a TV, like a 12-inch TV loaded on the back window.
So what's funny about the trip, the 2018 trip, the reason why it started because Elisa was looking at some park in Oregon or Washington or something like that, and in the park was a Prius that had the hatch open and a tent attached to the back of it. That started it all. She wanted to start with that. I need this because I'm going on an adventure. I was like, what? Okay, well, I guess you're going to do an adventure. But that was what it turned into. We didn't even need the tent because there's so much room in the back of the car. You got a little 3-year-old. You don't need a lot of space. So we did an air mattress in the back of it, a double sleeping bag. So all of us were in the same sleeping bag. And it was get on the road and go, man. It was amazing, dude.
Even living off of my bike for as long as I have and living in a camper that was very small.
Cool. That was cool.
And having my tent that's a lot bigger, I still have to, in my mind, I have this thought that when you say that you had a lot of room in a Prius, is mind-blowing to me.
They're spacious. People just underestimate them. I have so many people that are... I'll leave them off the line because it's 2 engines. I leave them off the line like, what the hell was that? It's a Prius. It's a hybrid car, and it moves fast. When we got out of, I guess it's out of Utah into Idaho, the speed limit changes. It goes 85 miles an hour.
Yeah.
85 miles an hour. So we have this car packed down where it's sagging in the back, loaded up, and we are still doing 85 miles an hour at like maybe 40 miles a gallon. And we just fell absolutely in love with it. And there was one part when we were cutting through Utah, coming back down, we went 460 miles on 10 gallons, or probably like 11.5 or something like that. 460 miles. We at least hyper-miled the hell out of it, dude, and it was amazing. In total, we did the trip on it or whatever. For the whole trip, it said we spent like $280 for 4,900 miles. And so, dude...
That's mind-blowing to me.
The car is amazing. cars to me. I hate to leave and just do the Prius all the time or whatever, because I'd love riding the bike and adventuring on the bike too, like tonight. But man, that thing makes it so much easier. I've always thought about like doing endurance motorcycles too. I'd love to have an endurance motorcycle and just go off to wherever you want to go. Even more efficient that way too. So
now is your wife, is she into cycling at all?
No, not huge into it.
No.
We've looked into trikes and stuff like that. She's not into that.
Okay.
But we go out and have fun.
There's always other things to get involved
There's
in.
always hiking and other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, hiking's fun when it's on a bike. Just saying.
2 wheels on the ground are way better.
Than 2 feet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
At least
And it is called one pedal at a time.
Yeah, it's one pedal, not one. Well, it's been one step for the last 5 months.
It
but,
is. Your progress, man, dude, amazes me.
But Jacob, it's been a really great conversation. Is there anything else that you would like to say to the listeners directly before we finish up this conversation?
Don't get too addicted, because it is really addicting. It's a really addicting just to travel. I mean, once you hit that, I just rode my bike at 30 miles an hour. Holy shit, this is fun. It really gets in you. It becomes a real passion, and that's what it's turned into me for here. So definitely get in, love it, enjoy it. Learn everything you can from those around you. All of our bike shops down here are associated with our like bike advocacy guys and stuff like that. So they will help you. There's packs of riders. When you see those group of 20, 30 packs of riders or whatever, they're training people. They're learning how to get around safely, how to be aware of people, all the bike laws. They'll give you all that stuff. So definitely invest. It's probably one of the best investments you'll ever do. In total, I don't know, $15,000 I've spent on bikes and all the stuff I've got, all the gear, everything I've got sitting here, probably total maybe $3,000 on one little ride, and just fall in love with it.
Penny.
Yeah, worth it, dude. And what was funny too, when I started commuting a lot, that was my therapist. That was my workout. It was, you clear so much out of your head, and you can go far with it. I love when I was commuting for a while. I would pass people several times at stoplights, and they're like, "Didn't I just see you?" I'm like, "Yeah, well, you just stopped at every stoplight. I just caught up with you." You can commute with these, and they're amazing. So get one, learn, love it, share it. My little one now is just starting to learn to ride, so you hand it down just like it was handed down to me years ago. So enjoy it and love it.
Just make sure she stays visible.
Oh my gosh.
And knows all the safety laws.
Oh yeah.
So
I'm practicing hand signals now. She's learning her hand signals.
Good.
Well, yeah, thank you, man, for having me, and it's great to see you again.
Jacob, it's been a pleasure hanging out and enjoying this fire. And for everybody else,
what's left?
Until next time. Copyright OPAT Movement 2021.